Hello. Welcome. My name is John Lemcool. This is MegaMagic Guitars for Unify. And this is a special library. I originally created this a while back for Omnisphere. It is now ported over to work 100% inside of Unify, needing nothing else. And I'll explain stuff as we go through here. I'll play a lot of the patches. There's bonus patches as well as the core of the libraries here. So this library is available at my website, pluginguru.com. It's more than just guitar, though, as you can see. So let me give you a quick rundown of this library. This is actually the third version of these samples. I first released it in 2016 for Omnisphere. About a year later, I released it for Contact 5, and both those versions are still available. The Omnisphere version, there's actually 2 volumes. I combined those into the Contact version, and I've combined them into the Unify version, so you don't have to buy a part 1 and a part 2. They're both included. If you go up here and you type V1, you will get the volume 1 patches for the guitar stuff. And then if you go V2, you will get the volume 2 patches. And the big difference and the easy way to distinguish between the two is volume 1 is multi-samples. There's 6 samples, the open strings of the guitars. That's all I sampled. I didn't sample other notes because Omnisphere couldn't play those notes. Look, if you open up Guru's sampler and you go to the standard library, there's actually a light version of this library right here, MegaMagic Guitars, Part 2 and Part 1 light. So you had a little smattering of Part 1 and a little smattering of Part 2. There's more to Part 2 because these are single samples across the keyboard. So you get a little taste of the library, but you don't get all of the library. If you open up this for MegaMagic Guitars for Part 1, here are all the maps for Part 1, and for Volume 2, it's split into different folders because there's so many samples. There's like around 200 different samples for phrases, the different guitars. There's pitch ups, pitch downs. And then as a bonus in this library, I included these acoustic note-off effects, which give it this. Hear those noises? Those are coming both from a layer of noises, right? As well as the notes themselves. I found in studying libraries that a lot of them had a bit of a pitch. So these are set to note off. And if you open this up, it's playing later in the sample and it's just a little short. Just to add something to this. Just guitar players are noisy. They're doing all sorts of things on the strings all the time. So this is the only version of this library that has note off effects. I never did this. Omnisphere, I couldn't set it up to play as note offs, and I didn't do it for Contact either. So this is just gives it that much more realism. I put them on everything. So even if you go to the nylon guitar, it's It's playing steel string guitar note offs because I only did one map. But again, it's just the guitar player being noisy. And if you don't want that, you can mute layer 2. And now you're back in a vacuum with no note off sounds, which is how the Omnisphere version sounds. It's much more realistic to me, just gives it that much more. It's a guitar, you know, it's not just the attacks of the guitar. So the basics is volume 1 is 6 samples for these different instruments. And so there's a 12 string, the electric sitar, a nylon aria, right? There's a nylon Yamaha, but the direct inputs. And then there's steel strings, both the Martin, both just microphones. But we also had the ability to record it with direct inputs. And you could even go down here to load as a Unify layer, load the direct input and the dry together and have now it's both of them together, which is pretty cool. On top of that, a bonus for Unify is we can do round robins really easy, and it's really, really fun. So these, let me put this back to normal. These are round robins of just the nylon guitars. So switching randomly with each note you play between the nylon aria and the nylon Yamaha. All the way up to 7-time round robin, including the sitar and the 12-string guitar. And as you can see, all of these have a MegaMagic 1 or MegaMagic 2, MM1, MM2. The dry is, again, the dry. MM1 is a soft, lush, it's actually 3 different reverbs combined. So it's baked into the samples. So it never gets muddy. It's 12 seconds of reverb, but it never gets to be like if you had 12 seconds of reverb on a sound, it just becomes mud after a few notes. But because it's in the samples, it never gets muddy. And MegaMagic 2 means there's an octave shift in the actual reverb. So you have some sound design options here beyond just the dry guitar. So what's really fun is to take something like this, go over it, make a new instrument, and under favorites, I have the ample guitars. So adding this, all of a sudden is gonna, let's see, I gotta take this down 1 octave, and now, you can layer these with other guitar sampled maps. Or here, let's go to Guru Sampler and make this be MegaMagic 1. Now it's just a nice reverb. So it just, as a sound design tool, it's really nice. To have these to layer and do cool things with. So each of the guitars actually, as you can see, have 3 versions for the volume 1 version of the library. Volume 2, there's only 1. I didn't do the pitch shifting. The black hole and stuff, these are software-based synthesizer guitars. And it's a single sample. So it sounds really nice. That's dry, and then here it is with MegaMagic reverb. It's just a single sample. So that's why I really was happy with the MegaMagic concept for adding reverb to the samples, because it makes one sample work really well. And so I did this for all sorts of things. And there's phrases in here, sometimes, and then the reverb versions. It's a great opening to a song to use some of these. Really cool. And then you get to, there's a Strat in here as well, which has a whole lot of samples. And these are great for rock guitars and all sorts of things, and mutes. So that kind of a stuff. The Strat open are really cool. That's with MegaMagic. Here's dry. So it's a nice, pure kind of guitar type of tone. Also, these work really great in the bonus patches. There's all sorts of distorted guitars. If you look under rock, Z guitar rock, there's actually like some with cabs. If you go through here and you turn off clang, falter, and noise box, that's all it is. Right? So on top of there's like 215 or so guitar patches of all the different single samples from volume 2, and all of the, when you see MegaMagic 1 and 2, that will give you the clue that that's one of the multi-sampled guitars. You can also type, like I said, V1 up here, and that will show you just the guitars. And then at the very end, the Z patches are bonus patches. There's 50, anywhere from basses to some BPM guitars. Just to be a cool rhythmic element. Some have synthy elements. Love Whispers is cool and mellow and rather epic in size. So that's nice. My friend Huston Singletary made 15 bonus patches, so fun things like that. I made things like, here's a latch patch where you play one note. This needs to be standalone to play properly. You have to be in your DAW and have your DAW playing if you want to use a latch patch and have it work right, because you play one note and that plays forever. So you play new notes. Right? So it's BPM guitars. The BPM splits go all sorts of different places. There's Below the Eyes. Feeling Dusty is kind of play one note, and inside of Unify, just for you to jam with, have some fun. Right? Oh my gosh, there's so many other ones in here. Chunky Monkey Funky Style. Got stuff like that. You have the chord strums, which have a bass layer. You can solo or mute it out if you want. Then there's a whole bunch of just nice, like the butterfly kisses from the BPM patch. Here it is. Just as a guitar to play, clear as day. Rocket International for the get yourself a nice big rock kind of drum thing going on. Snappy Spike. All sorts of fun things. So there's 50 bonus patches. Here's Kingdom Bloom, which is, again, that's nicely fading in with the reverb. I actually made a patch at the very beginning up here, the Z guitars. So if you go to the Z guitars, there's a thing called Magical Layer Replacer. And if you look at the knobs, I have this set up so you have 3 different types of reverb on layers 1, 2, and 3, and layer 4 says replace me with your favorite guitar plugin. So you can use your own plugins. You could use Contact. We could go here to Omnisphere, and let's call up something from Nylon Sky, for example. So we go over here, Nylon Sky. Let's just call up the clean guitar, and now we have a guitar. And it's got these 3 layers of reverb. The layer selector lets you choose between none, it still has reverb because it's going through an auxiliary bus, but then you can choose, here's layer 1. So you have that type of reverb, 2, and layer 3 is a MegaMagic 2. Nice bloom. Or you could say all of them. You have volume controls for each one, so if you want to turn them down a little bit. even add pumping for the reverb. Or the guitar too. If you want to put it into a track, dance track or something like that. So you have some flexibility with all the different types of patches. I mean, my gosh, there's so much fun. I love the last one. Just very fun to play. So enjoy the library. Thank you for your support as always. Cool. All right, well, we'll see you in another video soon. Hope this is helpful and inspiring to you and your adventures in music. See you later.